Hello everyone. Welcome to Ka Homeopathy Study Group Pro Bono webinar. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. So nice to see many of you from different countries and different time zones. Before we start, we would thank Universe for giving us this great opportunity with Gayatri Mantra chanted by Professor Regina from Brazil.
Om Bhuvat Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyan Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Jiyo Yona Prachodaya. Many blessings to the universe. Back at you, Dr. Kavita. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Regina. And Dr. Sweta Singh, our Ka Chief Administrator, will speak now.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. I would like to brief you all about the Ka Homeopathy Study Group Pro Bono. It was organized and founded by homeopath and humanitarian Kavita Kukunur, President and CEO of Kavita Holistic Approach, Ka. This study group is intended to be an offering from Dr. Kavita to the homeopaths around the globe, sharing goodwill and solid clinical work within the classical model are foundational principles for the Ka. Ka mission and vision are very unique to inspire young homeopaths, mentor, provide excellency for educational purposes using holistic approach via webinars which are based on principles of classical homeopathy and provide professional continuing educational homeopathy credits for practitioners. We provide merit certificates for spreading the light of homeopathy around the globe while celebrating stage 4 cancer survivors through our inspirational book talks. Dr. Kavita is a member of Kevin Friendly Foundation, a non-profit organization that helps to serve poor people in greater needs in India. I would like to take the privilege to say Dr. Kavita Kukunur was honored by National Center for Homeopathy at Joint American Homeopathic Conference 2021 with prestigious North America Homeopathic Award, Martha Allman Community Service Award, and honored as Best Entrepreneur Award from Dr. N. Linga Raju, Principal of JSPS Homeopathic Medical College, Hyderabad, India, at the Ka annual celebration. We are extremely happy and proud to announce that the book, Beyond the Limits, a challenge to prove oneself, written by our mentor, Dr. Kavita, has completed its successful 10 years. This precious writing contains her true life experiences where she connected to homeopathic principle with inspirational stories where she converted her obstacles and struggles as stepping stones for her success in America and her passion and devotion towards life and homeopathic profession. It is dedicated to all proud women. Many congratulations to you, Dr. Kavita, for these achievements. This webinar is moderated by Ka family, myself, Dr. Shweta Singh, Chief Administrator, and Professor Regina Rianelli. It is being recorded as we speak and we are live on Facebook. We will take questions at the end of the webinar. We will post jot form in Zoom webinar chat at the end of webinar. Please fill the form to receive certificate if you are watching live webinar. Email us at kastudygroup@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and I would like to request all of you to please mute yourself and put off your video so that there will be no interruption. Thank you so much, and over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Thank you, Dr. Sweta, for nice introduction about Ka Study Group. I'm just muting everyone. Okay. I thank Ka Homeopathy Study Group entire team for the continuous support. These webinars are for educational purposes only and see an expert homeopath for treatment. Being an outreach coordinator of CHCPR committee, HNA CPD provider encourages homeopaths to become CHC certified and participate in HNA accredited CU webinars. Today, June 20th, International Father's Day, celebrating and honoring dads and fatherhood. Happy Father's Day. Please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. And we tribute to father of homeopathy, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, on this day. Today we have a very special, our honorable speaker, Dr. Sachindra Joshi and Dr. Bhavisha Joshi. And with the topic, how to prescribe birds using MAP. Dr. Joshis are renowned homeopaths and no introduction is needed. But for those who are new, Dr. Joshis have been in the field of homeopathy for the past 23 years, helping people with homeopathy and refining working with the science has always been their mantra. As young doctors learning the art of healing, Bhavisha and Sachindra always believed in simplifying complex issues. Coming to right remedies can be a daunting task. They constantly work on simplifying this for themselves with the desire to reach out, introduce them to the world of international teaching at the age of 26 years. Over the past 20 years, they have been over 100 seminars and have evolved their method of homeopathy called the MAP system of homeopathy. MAP system is a unique approach that empowers every user of the system to prescribe confidently. In today's world, this approach of empowering every homeopath is the way forward. I was so fortunate to be a part of their monthly tonic session in the past, and they are incredible. Naturally, Dr. Joshi's classes and seminars are not just one-way dialogue, but discussion, sharing of ideas, appreciating every participant's inputs. It's a workshop where each one is plotting something important on the map. I knew them for several years, consider them as my inspiration, role model. They are always there to me at any time. It was so nice meeting both of them in person at Mumbai last year in January 2020. So fortunate to receive their book, Mammals as Gift. It's a wonderful book, over 500 pages, and I highly recommend to homeopaths who wanted to expand their knowledge in mammals. In my 10-minute conversation with Dr. Joshi, I learned something new about noble gas remedy, xenon. Dr. Bhavisha gave me xenon 200, and when I questioned her, she told it is pure energetic selfless service to the society. I feel good when I take it, and I always remember. Thank you so much, Dr. Joshi, for the remedy xenon. And without further delay, let us welcome our honorable speaker, Dr. Sachindra, to our webinar.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. It's lovely to be with friends and colleagues and share our work. Bhavisha and I have been indeed with homeopathy for a very long time. And we had the fortune to interact with many interesting teachers, colleagues, friends from all across the world who kind of enriched us and made homeopathy fun to practice and to share. There are people from various levels of homeopathic practice, I believe. Yeah, there are beginners, there are seniors, there are students, and everybody else. Homeopathy is very exciting. And looking at people from various stratas and levels of homeopathy, it reminds me and Bhavisha the time we spent learning, we spent educating, and the way we grew with the science and where we are. Our work has always been clinical, and we enjoy sharing our clinical work with everybody. Hence, our work, our books, or seminars are all about putting work in action. Yeah, because ultimately that's what matters. So before I go into what we are going to talk about the birds and how do we prescribe birds and how do birds fly into your clinic, yeah, in form of patients, I would love to share with you a small journey. Yeah, the two birds, how we began our journey with homeopathy and how we experience different flavors of the world. Because I believe everybody has something to inspire from that and make it big in their own world of homeopathy. Yeah, I'll just share a small clipping with all of you. I think I can share. Yeah, I can share. So that was the journey. Yeah, that's how we began 23 years ago. And like I said, that Bhavish and I are true clinicians. Everything in our work is something that we have practiced and we have experienced. And the feedback that we have had over the years has been overwhelming. We have written about 8 books so far. And with every book, somewhere, I mean, the books came actually into existence because we were keen to simplify things for the two of us in practice, make working models, make charts, and things to make our style of prescribing more easy for us. And as we kept working on our task, we found out ways to share that with the world because we realized that it is time to share this, our work with the world, whereby they too can benefit from that and make their prescriptions more simplified, more systematic. And that's how our map has come into existence. Our map is very unique, where you plot the minerals, the animals, and plants all at the same time. on the same grid. And that makes your prescription more surer, clearer, and you get a lot of differential remedies to select from. So before I get into birds and how have we mapped birds and how do we use them to help our patients, let's understand a little bit about the map system, the evolution, and the birds, themes related with the map, and the beauty of these birds, and how do we see them in our clinical practice. So Kavita wanted Bhavisha to talk. She said, Bhavisha, please come and talk for a while. So I coaxed her to share the first part, and then I'll share some more about the birds with you.
Yep.
Over to you.
Okay. So, Sachinda said the map system. Now, let me just tell you that today I want to concentrate more on just the birds, why we need birds today in the world, what are the themes of birds, how would you see a bird patient in your practice. I would like to discuss more of that and give you an insight into that. And I think that itself will give you a feel of our system of the map. Basically, in a nutshell, I can tell you that the system that has clinically come to us, again, it's not a concept, it's not something that we have created. I always say it is something that we have discovered. When you discover something, then it means it's already there in the universe. It's the truth of the universe. It's the simple underlying pattern of the universe, which Suchindra and I have only been fortunate to discover through our clinical practice, unfold, and understand the whole grid, which we now call as the map. And according to the system, we have plants, minerals, and animals all on one map or one grid. Yeah. And this grid is actually the grid of the periodic table, which a lot of you know just way too well. To begin with, it was only the grid of the periodic table. I think Suchindra is trying to share this grid with you. And you all know this table too well with 7 rows and 18 columns. But what's interesting is that in 2008 or 2005 and 6, I would say, by 2008, we were already teaching it. So by 2006 or 7, we are in 21. So I'm talking of 14 years ago already. What we saw is that not only minerals can be put on this grid of the periodic table, but the animals and plants as well. Yeah. And therefore, this grid that we now use as the map, yeah, the M stands for the mineral, the A for the animal, and the P for the plant. We use this grid as a map, and we call this grid of the periodic table as the universal grid. Okay. And there are 7 levels of human development on our grid and 18 columns or 18 ways in which people behave within these levels. I'd like to have this here. Also remember that therefore, when I can put minerals, plants, and animals on the same grid, it automatically means that for every position on this grid, there is a plant remedy, there is a mineral remedy, and an animal remedy. So basically, once you have decided the position of your human on this grid, yeah, based on that level of human development of the patient and based on which column he falls into, you can plot the human on the grid. Yeah. And then you have a mineral, an animal, and a plant, 3 counterparts. Yeah. For that same position. And each one of them has the potential to heal your patient. In other words, the mineral, the animal, and the plant are counterparts to each other and also counterparts to the human pattern. Yeah. And there are different times in the life of a patient when the mineral of that same position can be used to heal the patient. An animal can be used of that same position and a corresponding plant. Yeah. So you see what happens with this grid is that the idea of kingdoms being three completely different kingdoms, three separate, discrete compartments is dissolved. They are not three compartments, but they are three kingdoms where one can easily be represented by the other. Yes, they have the three different specialities and the three different characteristics. I don't deny it. But there is something deeper than these three kingdoms, something that binds these three kingdoms at a much more deeper level. Yeah. So these levels are more deeper, more closer to the energy pattern of everything in the universe. Yeah. So that's the basic fundamental on which this grid has been based, or I would say on which the system has been based. Now let's come to birds. Now Suchindra will tell you where the birds fall in this grid. That I leave it to Suchindra. Before we come to that, what I would like to say is, are birds such important remedies? Yeah. Are birds really so valid in today's time? And what is the main theme? I mean, how would I stumble onto a bird in the first place in a patient? Is it only because a person maybe makes a connection to an eagle or a connection to a sparrow, or maybe just wears a t-shirt of that of that color or of that bird? Yeah, or makes a gesture of stretching his arms wide? No. I would think those are very, very superficial pointers. Yeah. There are so many people whom we've given bird remedies to in the past years. We've recently released the book on birds, yeah, just about a month ago, with 9,000 birds, and all in different levels and all the different families of the birds covered. And I have prescribed, Suchindra and I have both individually and together prescribed several bird remedies to patients without them actually giving me either the gesture or any indication of that specific bird remedy. And yet those patients have done beautifully well, and they've had really deep healing experiences. The reason is I understand the energy pattern of the birds, and I understand their human reflection, yeah, in a much more holistic and deeper way. And that is what we are going to bring to you, or that is what we're bringing to the table today. So let's look at what are birds so that we understand the themes of birds. Now remember, the first thing to understand is, of course, birds are animals. So they will have animal themes. When you look at human patients needing bird remedies, they will have animal themes of being very bright, being very talkative or charming or loquacious sometimes. Not all the times. There are some very quiet birds too. They may have themes of competition. They may have themes of fear of attack. They may have themes of jealousy. This is the common thing one knows about any animal remedy, and bird being an animal can have all these characteristics. But there's something more deeper than this. The way I look at animals or animal remedies is that you have to remember this. Animals, you see, when you're looking at plants, minerals, and animals, it's the minerals that are the non-living. Then you have the plants who photosynthesized as well as learn to create their own food and survive. So you have the next after the minerals in the living world is the plants. And then the next in the evolution chain, let me just put it broadly. It's far more refined and far more intricate than what I'm saying, but just to make it simple and easier. The next after the plants is the animals who could eat the plants and who could also incorporate the minerals from the plants. So you see the animals have the minerals and the plants within them. The animals, and when I talk of animals, all of them are very sensitive. They have all the 5 senses, most of them. When it comes to the vertebrates now, yeah, birds are vertebrates. They have a vertebral column. They have a central nervous system. They know how to exchange with the environment. Yeah, there is a give and take. Yeah, there is a fear and there is a predator. So a victim and a predator. So basically, animal remedies incorporate in them a mineral theme of wanting to target, not wanting to target, wanting to reach a goal, wanting to reach a target. That is more a mineral theme. They incorporate in them the plant themes of being extremely sensitive to stimuli. And then they have their own specific characteristic, which is that of exchange, a give and take, a bond, a relationship, various processes happening within them and around them. Yeah. So the animal, I would say, in all of us covers a much more broader spectrum of our personalities to begin with. Okay. And the second thing is the deeper thing with birds, yeah, is birds, just like mammals, are group individuals. Yeah. Even the birds that are solitary are being taken care of by their parents or nurtured by a group. When I say a parents, let me call it a group. So there is a very strong dependence on the group. There is a very strong need to belong to a group. There is a very strong need to nurture, because the same bird as a nestling is being nurtured, but as an adult and the parent is nurturing the future the progeny. So there is this whole aspect in the birds of give and take, wanting to be part of a group, yeah, dependence on the group, and yet a very strong theme of their own individuality. When you look at birds, they can be in groups, but each one has their own nest. Yeah. So there's a very strong theme of independence and dependence, a conflict between independence and dependence. And a very strong theme of wanting to give and take and exchange with the group, wanting to nurture, wanting to be responsible for, or wanting to be taken care of. So when I see all these aspects in a case, whether they give me the gesture, whether they give me the exact correlation with the bird, I don't care. But these deeper themes are the human reflection of the birds in nature. Yeah. So this is what brings me to animals and then to birds. Now, one very important thing with birds is the word freedom. Freedom is common to many animals or several, and very strongly seen in the mammals and the birds. Now you have to remember, in the chain of evolution, it's the highest or the topmost are the mammals, the most evolved. Just before them, one down is the birds. So they're highly evolved. So what I was coming to was freedom. Yes, freedom. You just look at the way a bird body is made. It's extremely light because it has to fly. Its bones are extremely hollow. The entire body has air sacs within to keep the body buoyant and light. So you see, there is a very big theme of wanting to have a light, free body. That's one thing, which is a very strong theme in bird cases, wanting to feel light, wanting to feel this floating sensation. And the second important thing is the smallest of bird flies in the vastest of the spaces and skies. So the theme of freedom in birds is not just about a small space, but when they talk of freedom, it's about being completely free. It's about wanting to explore, wanting to be free in the skies, wanting to have this freedom of space and vastness. Yeah. So this vastness, boundlessness, and the light floating feeling are all very, very specific to bird cases. And therefore, humans who talk of these themes in their freedom will often need bird remedies. So this was about freedom. The opposite of that is the crushed feeling. Now, all birds, flightless or the ones that fly, they all have a very specific, for those of you who are, who have birds, like pheasants or chicken or, you will see that there is a wishbone that the bird body has. And the wishbone is a V-shaped bone somewhere around here, the sternum. It's a Y-shaped, sorry, not V, a Y-shaped bone around the sternum. And it's also called as the victory bone because of the Y shape. And the bone actually prevents the bird's lungs from crashing under the force of the wings when the wings flap. So you see that feeling of, or the fear of being crushed is a very strong theme in the very anatomy of the bird. And therefore is a very strong feature of bird cases when you see a bird patient. So often for them, on the positive side, they feel free, or they want to achieve freedom, or they want this freedom and vastness in their lives, or things that they do positively help them achieve this sense of freedom and vastness. But when they cannot achieve that, or the opposite, or the feeling that they are stuck with, is the feeling of being crushed, suffocated, tight, which comes from the very anatomy and the physiology, as well as the survival mechanism of birds in general. Okay, so this was about bird themes. Yeah, I would like to pinpoint a few other very strong characteristics that I see in all our bird cases, whether they are raptors, whether they are migratory birds, whether they are the little songbirds, whether they are the birds from the woodpeckers family, or whether they are the parrot family birds, whatever. Yeah. Whether they are the galliformis, the chicken. Yeah. What are these common characteristics? Now remember one thing. Bird patients, because birds in nature, I'm going to talk of both as one, okay? Bird cases, birds in nature, sorry, let me correct myself. Birds in nature have the highest metabolic rate, yeah? When I'm talking of vertebrates, like when you compare birds to reptiles and mammals, then they have the highest metabolic rate. You always see them busy, yeah? A bird feeds more than mammals and reptiles. A bird works harder than mammals and reptiles. The birds have to preen their feathers, they have to clean themselves up, they have to constantly arrange. It's called preening and downing. Yeah, that's arranging their feathers and, keeping themselves absolutely clean and free of parasites. They have to build nests during the breeding season. Not all mammals have to do it. Almost no mammal does it except the rodent. So they have to do all of this. They have to feed. Mammals feed their babies with milk. Reptiles don't do anything at all. Birds do not have milk. So what do they have to do? They have to make frequent trips. First, they have to build a nest, then they have to incubate the eggs. All of this is done within the mammal body because mammals have babies within them. Yeah. So the bird has to do it externally, which is a whole lot of work, very high maintenance. And then the birds have to feed the babies. Several birds make almost, 30, 40 trips a day feeding their young ones during the breeding season. So basically, all in all, when you look at a bird's life as compared to a reptile or a mammal, and I'm taking three larger groups of remedies here, okay? Then you see that the bird is constantly busy. Yeah, then you see that the bird is constantly on the move. Now translate that into human language. And what I've seen in all of our human bird cases is that those patients who need bird remedies are busy, are productive, industrious, and they always have something on their checklist. They always have a checklist, a list, a to-do list. Have I finished this? Have I ticked this off my list? Have I done this? Have I done the groceries? Have I done the bills? Have I done the cleaning? Have I filled in petrol in the car? Whatever. So busyness, and not fruitless busyness, very fruitful. And they may not necessarily be extremely hectic. Yeah. But they have to be doing, they have to be on the move, they have to be on the go, they have to be productive. So if I just tell you here now, this is exactly what's happening in the world today. We're all leading a busy life. We all need to achieve our targets. We all need to be very, very productive. Yeah. Another important thing is that when you look at our globe, we are all dependent, and yet we are looking for our independence and our individualities. And it's not therefore a joke or a coincidence that we need more bird remedies as of today. Because I can see that it's all about freedom. We're all talking about it. And especially when I look at the US, freedom and your own individual freedom is a very big thing on which the US culture is based. And so I do see a lot of bird remedies when I see my clients in the US. I see them all over Europe as well. Yeah, also in Australia, but I'm specifically talking about US because it has this connection to the freedom aspect. So what you see today in the world is definitely all of us in this conflict of, are we dependent? Are we independent? How much of our independence is important and how much of it we give in or compromise to be dependent on the group. And in a global world like today, where we are globally connected, globally dependent, global trade, global economy, we cannot be alone. So there is this whole theme of dependence versus independence, which is a running theme of the world today. The whole theme of my freedom, my privacy, my freedom, versus the global communications, right? Communication is another very big aspect of birds. Now, you know this, a lot of birds love to sing, they make sounds, they have the special sirens or the voice box, they make complex songs. So communication and expressing ourselves is another important theme to the bird remedies, which is what you see in the humans today as well. You have Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, all kinds of social handles where everybody wants to express themselves. But then you also have the problem of losing your privacy and getting dependent and therefore getting exploited. So you see, that's so much a bird theme. So I told you about the industriousness. I told you about the whole dependence versus independence. I'm also telling you how relevant bird remedies and the need of bird remedies is to this hour today. A couple of other things, bird remedies or bird patients, just like birds in nature, can be very, very creative, can be very aesthetically in tune. They love giving gifts to people. They love getting gifts. They love creating lots of things at different levels. Sachinda will tell you more about what a level 3 bird creates as opposed to what a level 5 or a level 6 bird creates. So there's this whole aspect of creativity, aesthetic beauty, a love for creative arts, so performing arts, dance, rhythm, music. Of course, these are very important to bird remedies. Music and dance. Most birds, especially in the migratory group, have a dance between the soulmates, a dance between the partners. Another one last bit that I would like to say, and after which I think Sachinda will take over, is the theme of soulmates and the theme of fidelity, which is a very, very strong theme to bird cases because it's a strong theme to birds in nature. So bird patients in their relationships with their partners are often looking for a soulmate, are often looking for somebody they can connect with for a lifetime because 90% birds are monogamous. So they're looking for this kind of a soulmate. They're looking for a partner with whom they can express and share everything. And they're extremely loyal to those partners and they expect the same. So fidelity comes as another very big important theme in bird cases. Okay. Great. So this was in a nutshell about birds in nature and the bird themes that you see in your patients. And Suchandra will now explore the various level birds and everything. So over to you. Do you want to come here? It's much better. Thanks, Kavita. I really enjoyed being here with all of you today.
Thank you, Bhavisha. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And in this short time, you made it. It's a surprise for us and we really enjoyed. Thank you.
Thanks.
Lovely. So we continue further. One of the most important themes that you all must have realized while Bhavisha spoke about the birds is that they like to be busy. Yeah. Now, busyness is a very important theme. You can imagine when the bird is hunting and trying to feed its little one and constantly doing something, there's a lot of energy. And no wonder people in homeopathy have often connected bird remedies to the tubercular miasm just because of their busyness. When you look at the birds more closely, of course, there's a lot more to them than just this so-called picture tubercular energy that the birds have. Now imagine that homeopathy has very few birds that were explored. To begin with, the first bird remedy came in homeopathy in the year 1997, when the seagull was proved in 97, I guess. And after that, we had cases of falcon as a remedy because peregrine falcon was proved, and then the bald eagle was proved, and then the birds started growing in homeopathy. But that is how our beginning with homeopathy and bird connection has not been very long. The themes that Bhavisha spoke to you are very important for you to come to bird remedies. And remember, you don't have to dig deep to come to these themes and to understand them. Always remember, ask patient about things that they are sensitive to. Ask patient about things that they enjoy doing, things that excite them, things that stimulate them. These are the things that will give you insight into the patient's personality, and they will start bringing out the bird themes. The way the patient deals with the situation at home, or the way the patient feels when there are difficult situations at work, at home, at any other work front. The way it reacts and the way it experiences it, yes, that's where your bird themes start coming out. So make note of all of them. And remember that homeopathy has nearly, not homeopathy, the world has nearly 9,000 birds. Now, prescribing 9,000 birds in homeopathic practice can be a little challenge. Yeah. So every bird might have the themes that we just shared with you. Now, how does one differentiate which one to be picked up and which one to be excluded? We can't do this combination practice of combining all 9,000 and shooting one big bullet. Of course not. So there are peculiar themes that each bird has. Now, until now, in homeopathy, we relied a lot on what patient said or how the patient related to a particular bird or to pictures or diagrams and things like that. And we used that as a jump to come to the bird remedy or maybe a proving symptom that we have had. Now imagine we don't have the repertory of 9,000 remedies nor the in-depth information about 9,000 remedies, about 9,000 birds in nature. How do we use them? If there is a system that can help us divide, differentiate in these bird remedies into various levels and columns, wouldn't that be great? That is exactly what we try to do. Oh, where did it go? Wait a second. What we try to do with our map. Wait a minute. Yeah. Here we go. We try to do with a map whereby, depending on the bird's qualities, personality type, strength, weakness, we place them on the grid of the periodic table from about onwards and from left to right. Remember, every bird group, yeah, has been put on one level or the other. For example, the most common morning birds that you hear them chirping when you wake up in the morning, or which rather wake us all up in the morning, often these birds belong to level 3 of the periodic tables. They have a level 3 personality. There are other birds which are long distance traveler, the seabirds, the migratory birds, the beautiful birds that you look up in the sky and often you see them flying in a V formation. These birds belong to the level 5 level. Then there are other birds which we all aspire to be. Yeah, the national bird of America, the bald eagle. We all want to be beautiful like that, or maybe strong and capable, and all possible qualities related to the eagle. These bird personalities have naturally been placed in level 6. I would just rather be more precise when I come to that. Yeah, but broadly, they are on level 6. And at the same time, there are birds like the vultures. Yeah, I think vultures are in which, do you have vultures in Jungle Book? I'm not sure. But maybe Lion King and Jungle Book, if you remember those themes and you see vultures, well, they are scavengers. They too belong to the same level. Yeah. So remember, this is how we have classified bird. And naturally, as you read more into the bird work, of course, I'll be briefly giving you an overview. As you read more into the bird work, you'll be able to really relate to how we have placed them in this particular order and how this makes complete sense in prescribing. Now, let's go a little further. Let's try to understand what are the birds and how have we placed them on these various levels. I'll cite just a few examples from level 3, 5, and 6, yeah, to give you a broader idea about the bird system. Remember the themes that Bhavisha gave you. Where did they go? Wait a minute. Just a second. Wait a minute. Just a sec. Let me find my slide. इधर गया. There we are. Okay. Can you all see this? Yeah. Maybe in the chat window. So a quick bird themes just for you guys to understand them. Lovely. Yeah. The theme word. Remember these words. Yeah. In your cases, freedom, light, caged, trapped, travel, flying, orientation. Now remember that birds are amongst those beautiful animals on this earth which have strong connection with the location that they are, the place that they travel, and these small little brains can actually map the whole world and transfers from one end of the continent to the other end of the continent. That tells you that orientation is a very damn important theme in these birds. So often in your cases, you must find themes connected to orienting themselves or being good at finding directions and very good at, being at a particular space. Or you can find individuals who can be lost or who are very bad at exactly the same point or other about the same point that you would have the birds very expert in them. So you would have either out of or disoriented completely or very focused and oriented. Partner, Bhavisha talked about. Busy, I mentioned about. Colors. Remember, amongst all the animals on this earth, birds have the most plethora of colors. And the more you travel to different parts of the world, especially if you go to the Australasian continent of the earth, you'll find birds with amazing fluorescent bright colors. So beauty, colors, dance, music, they're very important theme to bird personality. Home, yeah. The mammals stay in dens and caves and in crevices. Birds are amongst the very few animals which make their home. So home is very important. Warmth, coziness, and of course, providing food for the little ones is extremely important to all personalities. Now, one would wonder if you just put these points together, guys, and if you think about them, we can practically relate to so many traits in our everyday life and things that we all do, and rather so many else do, and the whole world does around us, to so much of bird personalities. So one can imagine that there are so many people with all these qualities that I just mentioned about and we just spoke about. How come we haven't explored the group of remedies that can help them? Of course, we didn't, because we did not know how to connect to them and how to connect to our patient's language. And this is exactly where I'll open that window for you, is these themes which are so prevalent, yeah, and which we are also busy doing and interacting and doing exactly all these themes. We'll come to how exactly do we put these into clinical practice. Now remember, the same qualities that we just mentioned about, the same qualities have to be placed, classified, and enhanced with the level that the person belongs to. Remember that. Now, remember, the first level in which the birds begin from are level 3. So, the birds of level 3 correspond a lot to a level 3 personality. Now, what's a level 3 personality, you will ask? Level 3 people are ones who find happiness in small things in life. Level 3 persons are the ones who are happy being either a mother or a everyday person or doing routine things and simple things in life, a homemaker. Yeah, the best thing, a homemaker, a home baker, that's a level 3 personality. The ones living in the US, you can often connect level 3 personalities to people who live in very small villages, who are happy being in their village, who love to make things very nice in their village and do things, and their home is like a nicely decorated nest. That's a level 3 personality. People who belong to a level 3 personality are not ambitious. Yeah, they're happy with small things in life. And the ones from India can relate to people from small towns and village. And you wonder what makes these people happy. But actually, when you look at their lives closely, they are very content with the way things are in their hometown, in their village, the social connect that they have with their people, the communication that they do with their village folks or neighbors or family, and the way they interact and they enjoy doing small things. That's a level 3 personality. Yeah. Now I won't go into this. Yeah. Homely people like to decorate their homes, keep them neat and tidy and clean. Often you can find their homes having compartments and departments for small things, neatly kept. A child who comes to the school, a level 3 personality, will have a school bag which is very tidy with everything that is kept in its right section in the right drawer. Yeah, that's a level 3 person. These people are, remember, not very adventurous. You will not find them take up bold decisions or take a bold stand and they're happy maybe to be. They'll be vocal. They are not quiet people. Remember, level 3 people, when I talk about them being so docile, they are not quiet people. They can be very loud and talkative and quarrelsome, but they are not adventurous. They quarrel, they babble, and they talk and they tweet, but they don't act. Most people who are on Twitter, that will be a little overstretching, but as a theme, remember, people who are happy just tweeting about a cause or about something are quite level 3 personalities. The ones who do something more become different levels. Yeah, but that's a level 3 personality. Finding happiness in small things. Maybe you have made a nice dish, or they have played a nice decoration, or they tidied their home, or they have made a nice drawing. They're very happy about it. Family is very important for level 3 people, extremely important, doing things for the family, their partner, their children, or children issues and their school and their studies and their tuitions, and you name the thing. Well, remember, that's a level 3 personality because it gets stressed trying to do everything. Yeah, remember. Then we come to managing family. They will always portray running their family or doing their family as if that's the whole world. Remember. And you talk to them, you wonder, oh my God, what a big family this person has to manage. Well, the family might just be maybe 2 children and the husband and maybe somebody else, but not a very big family. But their perception is something like that. Now, one might wonder, okay, a person is so restricted in their small town, how do they experience freedom? How do they experience their happiness? Now, remember, birds of level 3, they'll always find freedom in small things. They'll find freedom and happiness maybe going out for a round with their friends, or going for a cup of tea to their friend's place, or meeting over a cup of coffee, or chit-chatting, or baking things together, or doing some things for the family, or going out for a ride, a small ride maybe within the town or within the village, or going shopping or marketing. That's a level 3 personality. Sorry. Yeah. Now, the birds that we have put in level 3 are mainly the galliformers, the pheasants, yeah, the chicken, the peacock family. We have put them all in galliformers and the passeriformers. Remember, when you find a personality who is exactly like the way I described to you, doing things and finding happiness in small things, but talkative, chirpy, and bold. Yeah. If you're talkative, chirpy, and bold in the sense you manage your family well, you are able to do things. Then you look at the way the person is leading their life, you realize, oh my God, she's really working very hard to run the family or make the family ends meet or make people happy within the family, and can be very firm in doing that, a level 3 level work. But wonder, what kind of a remedy would that connect to? And along with that, if you find that, well, she has a little bit of creativity too. Her things are not just mundane things, but there's a little bit of creativity in whatever that she works with. She could be a person belonging to the passeriformes. Passeriformes are the group of remedies that have the canary, the twitter, the sparrow, the myna, the Turdus merula, and even actually the crows. Yeah, to some bit. So she might belong to a personality like that. And if she's somebody who's strong, a toughie amongst the easy things and small things that she does, but if she sounds to be a little toughie, the remedy that you can think for her could be a sparrow. Yeah. What do you say? A silica phosphorus-like personality. Think of sparrow. Remember that. At the same time, if you have a magnesium like a personality, soft, mild, scared, talking, yapping, but very scared, timid, not very keen to make decisions or not very bold to take up any stand or do anything. Could be possibly thinking of a small tit. This is a picture of a small tit, which are very small birds, soft birds, scared birds, not very adventurous and happy doing things, small things. Remember, a bird, a level 3 personality will like to travel, like I said, in small bits, but not very long distance travels. They are not very keen. Often you might see them talking about, I'm scared of heights, or I'm scared of going over the ocean or over the sea. And you might wonder, well, I'm thinking doctors are asking me to prescribe a bird remedy, but this bird remedy is scared of travel. Of course. A lot of sound.
Mute yourself.
Can somebody mute? Mic is adjusted. Better. That sound wasn't passeriformis. Anyway, so we go further. Now, so the patient talks about not very keen to travel, and you might wonder, well, how do I give him a bird remedy? The patient is not willing to travel. Remember, passeriformis birds are small travelers. They are not long distance travelers. For them, travel might be few kilometers, a few hundred, a few kilometers, but not definitely overseas travel, long distance travel. Migration is not a theme that you will see in passeriformis remedies. Remember, the other group that we have in level 3 are the galliformes, the pheasant, the chicken, the turkey. Yeah, these people are very loud and talkative and communicative and expressive. They are very social, very friendly. Food is very important. The birds of level 3 are very good feeders. So if you go to their homes, they are the ones who can give you multiple dishes or, a lot of food, different dishes, and they can overwhelm you with food. That's a level 3 personality. Yeah. And I and Bhavisha see that the amount of level 3 personalities in our clinic is very, very big. And I'm sure all of you who kind of work with the MAP system will see a lot of level 3 personalities in your clinical practice. Remember, that's a very, very huge group. And in day-to-day practice, level 3 people, the natrum line is very, very strongly prevalent in our clinical prescriptions. So you'll have a lot of galliformes, loads of passeriformes, and we have put in many other birds. But these are the main 2 birds that you will find in a level 3 personality. I go further. Now, another thing that often comes very close to a level 3 personality is a level 5 personality. Look at this picture. Level 3 personality, level 5 personalities are silver series, palladium, rhodium, ruthenium personality, strontiums, or the antimony personality. These personality types are level 5 personalities. We have put in a huge amount of birds in these level 5 personalities. Yeah, I believe we have put in the entire sea birds as a level 5 personalities. We put in the parrots and many other birds as a level 5 personalities. Now, level 5 personalities, when they come to you in practice, how would you see them as? Often, yeah, you will see them doing something more. Yeah, they can do the same work as the level 3 personality, doing small things or maybe simpler things in life, or maybe even serving good food to others. But remember, a level 5 personality will always have something more to that. They can be good teachers. They are very adventurous. Travelers, long journey travelers. If you follow YouTube and if you follow travelers and bloggers, video bloggers from all across the world, you see them doing extreme things, interesting things, and blogging their entire travel journey or various aspects as they explore in life. These people are often level 5 personalities. They are the explorers. YouTube basically is thriving on level 5 personality. TikTok is thriving on level 5 personalities because they make simple things different. They make simple things interesting. They make simple things stand out because that's the nature of making things creative and making things stand out, no matter how simple they are. They can be teachers. Yeah. And when you look at teachers, there are often teachers that you find in class who bring about the entire theme of the subject or the topic alive. They excite you as students. They portray a beautiful picture. They teach you in such a way that the whole subject comes alive. It makes you feel, wow, what a class, fantastic. I love the subject, though it might be a mundane subject. But when the teacher has the knack to bring it alive, well, that's a level 5 teacher. Yeah. And because it's a bird, imagine this teacher can be very talkative, communicative, beautifully communicative, can really, play with the subject very well. Travel. Now, like I just said, that we have placed the seabirds in this particular route of remedies. They are long distance travelers. Yeah. They can travel very, very far. They can migrate. So when you have people who move from one country to the other, go to a different land, yeah, you can think of level 5 personalities. These are the people who seek much more in life, not just the routine everyday things. They want to make things interesting, exciting, different from the same thing. They might be driving a car, or they might be traveling from the other, but then make sure that their journey is extremely interesting. They might take a different detour or shop around a new cafe, explore things. They are explorers, and they'll come back every day with some story to narrate. When these patients walk into your clinic, a level 5 personality often give you something to learn. Please. Yeah. Better. Guys, please keep yourself muted. It doesn't take too much of trouble to press the mute button, please, because it breaks the chain of thought. Yeah. Now, group 5 people, level 5 people, like I said, they're travelers and they're migratory people who travel. These individuals have a unique capacity of being together in big groups with friends and socializing and partying. And one might wonder that they are a complete party animal. But often you might find these people enjoying by themselves, having a cup of coffee or just being there with your partner or their friend. They are complete two extremes, groupies as well as loners. So they can be in huge groups or as well as just with their partner. These people have an immense sensitivity to space. They love space and they need their space. They are very sensitive to people kind of encroaching on their space, telling them what is to be done or obstructing or kind of, contradicting their views. They can take it very intensely because they are a little more free-spirited than the others. Yeah, because naturally, imagine when you are comparing a level 5 personality to a migratory bird who travels 5,000 or 10,000, 25,000 kilometers maybe in a year. Obstructing their views can really be very hindering to these personalities. That's why I've written the word, we have written the word free spirit. Very, very important. Strong connection to oceans and water. Now, these personalities, as compared to a level 3 personality that I just mentioned to you, love traveling. They can be very comfortable on a stormy day. They can be extremely comfortable sailing or even flying. Or rather, often they will talk about the love for flying. I remember I had a patient, yeah, and she says, I love the fact when the aircraft lifts up. And when the aircraft is flying way up high, I love to take a day flight rather than a night flight because then I can watch the landscape turning, the clouds and the ocean, and I can experience myself as if I'm flying by myself. I put on my music with my headphones on and I just go out in my own world. Though I'm in the aircraft, I'm all by myself, flying on my own. My mind is creative. My mind is thinking of various ideas and thoughts and views. I'm a free spirit when I'm flying. That's a classic expression of a level 5 personality. Often, these level 5 personalities can be very good artists. Yeah, they can be very good teachers, artists, dancers. Very important. They can be very good singers too. Yeah, most of your performers, yes, yeah, the everyday performers or even very good performers in your social circles, these personalities can be a level 5 personalities. They have that beauty to show out their creativity. They have that beauty to show out what they are good at. And they are confident, depending upon which column that they belong to, they are confident to share that. Along with that, level 5 personalities, among other levels, have a very strong bond with their partner. So soulmate is an important theme. Some of the level 5 personalities can have the same soulmate, so they are very, very, very close to a partner. And whereas others will talk or rather emphasize upon a very good partner relationship. Often to the extent of talking about being soulmates or spontaneous, where they talk about that, oh, when my partner wants something, I feel it, I understand it, and I just get that for her or him, or he gets that for me. He's able to understand me. Lot of communication without actual verbal communication. That's a level 5 personality. Level 5 personalities as well can be very good mentors, not just teachers, they can be very good mentors, and they can bring about the subject alive. What remedy? Yeah, I had this one particular level 5 patient who was an extremely beautiful singer. So much so that she felt that she was a completely different person when she was on stage, talking, singing, and communicating herself. And one would wonder, oh my God, she's such a fantastic personality. What an outgoing personality she is. But at the same time, she was a lovely homemaker too. Because for her, home was very, very important. So it was a combination of art outside, beautiful creativity outside, but at the same time, taking care of the family, taking care of the needs of the family. These people are very good at balancing both ends, the professional creativity as well as the family commitment, because that's the most important thing in a level 5 person.
Dr. Sachindra?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. We are really enjoying and just wanted to let you know that we have 15 minutes, and in case if you would like to take any questions or no, because it's a Father's Day.
Questions.
It's a Father's Day. That is the reason. It's many have though over 200 registered.
Course, yes.
Many could not join live.
Of course, yes, they are celebrating. Of course.
Would like to let you know that we have 15 minutes left.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for reminding. So let me see the questions before I make you more heavier as I go down. But all birds are also having different attitudes, different nature, and they have also genders, and their attitude depends on genders. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, of course. Each bird. So what I'm talking about, Shahala, are the general personalities. I'm giving you general themes of the bird. As you get individual, as you get closer to these groups, as you study from a bird book or anywhere, you will look into their each peculiar themes. Now remember, every animal nation of the male as well as female together. Yeah, we are prescribing a male pheasant maybe as compared to a peacock of a female pheasant. Remember, a remedy will always have the crux of both because it is from the same substance both the genders have come out. So it's a very good question, but remember, it's the crux of the remedy. So what I'm sharing with you are general themes, are general ideas and general views. As you get closer, each remedy group, the flamingos have a specific personalities. The storks in level 5 have a specific personalities. I just mentioned to you a very short case of sparrow. Sparrows have a specific personality. Tits have a specific personality. And if you find a bird who is very smart and cunning, well, they can be a crow. They have a peculiar personality. So what you do with prescribing remedies is that first you come to the bird themes that Bhavisha mentioned to you and I re-emphasized them. Come to them. Next step is to find out what are they sensitive to in those themes. So first you come closer to a bird personality. From bird personality, you come close to what level do they belong to. So you come to a level personality. Then as you come to a level personality, look at, okay, what are the strengths? Is he a very strong person, a weak person, an independent person, a dependent person? Now, understanding that, how do you know that? You understand that from his everyday life, the way what it does. Understanding that tells you, okay, on the grid of the periodic table, is he somewhere around the center where it is very grounded and strong? Or is he very dependent on the partner or society or friends? Oh, he's on the left-hand side. Or he's very vocal. He goes to the right. That gives you where kind of personality that the patient belongs to. And then, so what we have done is we have classified birds from above downwards, from level 3 to level 7, from left to right, from column 1 to column 17. So we have birds placed everywhere. So as you narrow down with the level, first the bird, then the level, and then the column, there's so many birds which can correspond to the same column. And that is exactly where your question comes. Each one has its own peculiarity. There you try to understand what is it in this particular patient that stands out. If you are able to understand that, you can compare that with the bird personality because you have put in all beautiful features about every bird and what makes it stand out. You match the two, and that's how you select a remedy. But remember, the personality encompasses the entire species. Yeah, the remedy encompasses the entire species. Now, what else do we have? Blah, 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 blah. Most welcome. Thank you. Good. That was a lovely question. And yeah, it should come to your mind. And it's wonderful that you ask questions because questions provoke thinking and they provoke you as well to prescribe, incite you to prescribe a good remedy. So I hope you guys got some idea about a level 3 personality and a level 5 personality. Now, I just mentioned a while ago that a level 3 personality would love to share a lot of goodies or food, yeah, when you go home or when you visit them to their places. If you visit a level 5 personality, you will definitely be bombarded with a lot of interesting food because, of course, feeding is very important, but there will be creativity. It will be a simple dish, but it will be something very interesting, something that stands out. You see, all of this helps you understand the personality type. When I and Bhavisha go out or we talk to anybody anywhere, yeah, immediately our mind starts working, okay, what level is this person talking? What kind of a personality is he? Is he a level 4, 5, 3, 6? Or where is he? On the left, on the right? What is so peculiar about him? That's the remedy. This is how you work to build a prescription and understand it. And remember, with the map system that we have shared, our map system is complete from the beginning to the end. So you take the system according to the way that we have laid out because it's a more simplified version. Yeah. And the beauty of case taking is that at the end of it, if you were to share that case with anybody, they would be very fused. Why? What? So what did the patient say? Okay, why did the patient behave in this way? There are no whys. Because whatever it is, you ask the patient, because the patient knows the answer to his pathology and his state. So if you take the map approach and use that to build up your prescription, you can build it up right from the chief complaint and come to the exact precise species without even the patient remotely connecting to any bird or any animal on this earth. Doesn't matter. Because the remedy is part of the personality. Everybody who talks about an animal is not that animal. It's part of their personality. So our system is very clear, and there is no way we are relying on any information that is based on the patient's whims and fancies, because that way the system will never ever work. Yeah. So I'll just talk for more 5 minutes. If there are any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. Now, a level 6 personality, because I mentioned about level 6. Remember, level 6 personalities are very good leaders. The leaders, yeah, we have put level 6 personalities can be the big cats. They can be the whales, the elephants. Yeah, that's the kind of personality that we have in level 6, especially when you look at mammals. We have got snakes in level 6 too. In the birds, we have put in the hawks, the kites, the eagles, the vultures. We have put them all as a level 6 personality. And when you look a little closer with our map system, you will see that we have connected our birds, and these birds, the raptors, at not just the level 6, but we see them more close to the lanthanide levels. Yeah. If you look at the periodic table, you have got the lanthanides, all the lanthanides compressed in column 3 of the 6th level of the periodic table. And we see that our birds have a predominant level 6L or the level 6 lanthanide level in them. Hence, level 6 bird personalities are very good leaders, are very good teachers, are very good guides, because they are not dominating. They give freedom to their student or the participant or the people who work under them. Yeah, level 6, I don't have it. Yeah. So level 6 are people like this. They are very good leaders. They help you turn independent. Just like how Bhavish and I share our system to ensure that every person who reads the system is able to do it independently. That's a level 6 behavior, where there is empowerment to the opposite person to function independently. Yeah, remember that as a very important theme in all your 6L patients. They are very good teachers and they are very good travelers. They are travelers with a purpose. They are travelers who are into spirituality, who are into teaching or learning, and not just learning to acquire knowledge, to learning to acquire a lot of depth, or rather learning to explore a lot of depth in their personality. They love to teach, to empower, which I just mentioned. Now, in level 6L or level 6L personality, freedom is extremely important. Yeah, freedom to the next level, freedom from to the soul from the body, freedom from living to spirituality. We're talking that kind of a freedom. Often people do speak about it, and you see them bring things alive, and you can see them to that depth. They are artists as well. So level 6L personality and level 5 personality will come very close to your practice. But remember, the art, the performance, the drawings, the paintings, and the creativity that these personalities indulge in have a much more deeper meaning to themselves, to the society, rather than it just being a show. That's a level 6L personality. So think of hawks, kites, eagles. When you see a personality, something who has qualities like what I have shared with you. So I've helped you understand the sparrows, the tits in your clinic, the seabirds in your clinic, and of course, all the raptors in your clinic. I've given you enough Matra Medica to prescribe maybe 100 remedies. Can you believe it? Just use the system, use the understanding, and you'll be able to explore them. And if you want to learn more about the map and a little bit more about the birds and a little bit more about, okay, how do these levels, because of course there's a lot more to it. It's a system. Go to our website, which is there at the bottom of the slide. Yeah, we've got loads of free lectures there on the free webinar page. No password, nothing, just watch them and learn from them. What questions do we have? Remedies. Remedy, we have the birds. We haven't put many animals that are close to the noble gases. But yes, you can find some element of the very big seabirds. Yeah, the albatrosses and big seabirds like that, which can have some similarity closer to it, but definitely not, because the birds don't have the noble gas energy. It's much more stable. You can see the remedies like the stork, vultures, they can have some noble gas like qualities. Great. So how we will correlate CA of level 4 with bird species? What is CA? Level 4 personalities will have level 4 themes. Level 4 themes are of security, safety, doing something, working towards it. Remedies that we have put in level 4 are all interesting birds like the kingfisher, the woodpeckers. They have that kind of qualities of provision, of firmness and toughness in their personalities. So that's the way. Calcium. Calcium has got softer birds. Yeah. There are many birds which can be very soft birds, which are scared, which are smaller in level 4 personalities. Level 5 birds. Level 5 birds are flamingos, I mentioned to you, albatrosses, stork, cranes, parrots, pigeons. They're all level 5 personalities. You see, there's a common theme in all of them. All of them are very interesting. Great. Any other questions? Level 7 remains. Yeah. Level 7, the only animal group which has got some connection to level 7 in the birds, you can see them in the vultures. But I've shared with you a major portion, yeah? Level 3 and level 5 constitute a huge portion of our entire bird repertory. So I've given you enough to prescribe with. And level 7 has got a very small number. You can reach there as you come closer. As you descend with your case taking and your case taking gets better, you'll be able to come closer and closer to a level, and you'll wonder that why is this not coming out? Why is this not being explained? And you push it further, you realize a level 7 personality, and naturally you will be able to prescribe level 7 remedies, which we have the vultures over there. Great. Kavita, I tried to complete within the hour, within 15 minutes, so that nobody's left waiting.
Wonderful, Dr. Sachendra. And we will ask Dr. Sweta any questions in Facebook or in chat, just to double check before we wrap.
No, ma'am. Dr. Sachendra already covered all the questions. And thank you, Dr. Sachendra, for such a interesting webinar. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the way you presented, it was really mesmerizing. I would love to learn more. And can you please suggest some, more literature where I can find about these remedies?
Of course. Oh, well, you can learn all of this from our website. I'll just share with you where. Yeah, We have put in a lot of free videos. Yeah. Bhavisha and I really love to empower students and practitioners. Yeah. That's the crux of our work. You go to our website and you go to free webinars. And here you have got plethora of webinars, about 50 hours of free videos. Just click it and it'll start learning, working. Yeah. We've got about 8 hours of lectures on COVID, where I think Bhavish and I were the first people on this earth who got everybody, including us and many others who have prescribed COVID cases together on one platform to empower our students. So go to our website and you can click here and watch about our system, our mapping system, about the birds, about everything. Yeah. We don't need anything, no password, no names, no email ID. Just watch them. So there's a lot of study material for you to understand the map. You see there are 9 videos, 8 videos here, 9 videos, all on the philosophy of our work. What we gave you, what Bhavisha shared, what I shared is in a nutshell. Remember, a system, a map. We have written 8 books based on this work. So it's very extensive. But we try to simplify it so that it excites you to know more. Because actually, when you start putting it in action, it's beautiful and you won't even realize that you're putting in hard work of 25 years in your practice so easily and it works wonders. So yes, this is the website that you can go, read about it, click on any video and you can watch it and empower yourself.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Thank you, Dr. Sweta. And we have Professor Regina. She would like to speak.
Thank you. Dr. Josh, it was a wonderful webinar. I learned a lot from you and your wife. I would like to ask 2 quick questions. You mentioned the food and the provisions. Do these birds need extra energy to perform these activities than the other levels?
Okay. Now, bird remedies definitely burn a lot of energy. So they can have a lot of symptoms of exhaustion. So for them, food and exhaustion and energy have a very strong connection.
Thank you. Hummingbirds are very territorial. Once there was a fight in our backyard and one broke its beak. I picked it up and I gave a rescue remedy, but I did not dilute it. So the bird first enjoyed it and then opened his wings and died. My question
it got overexcited.
If I diluted, would the bird be alive?
No, I don't know. Remember, you recited the Gayatri Mantra right in the beginning. Remember, what might have happened is far more divine. Yeah, you and I are just small vehicles to do small bits in our lives to help the mankind. But if you look at the homeopathic clinician part of it, our remedies are alcohol-based. Yeah. And of course, one would argue that these birds are sucking nectar, which is alcohol ultimately, if it ferments. Yeah. So if I want to rescue any animal or anybody, I would give it maybe in a little diluted form, maybe. But whether it survives or not, because remember, with the hummingbird losing its beak, it lost its main tool of survival.
Okay, yes.
For it survives. So basically, life is determined by a far larger energy. A life well lived is much better than a life which is just living for the sake of living.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Back at you, Dr. Kavita. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Regina. And thank you so much once again, Dr. Bhavisha and Dr. Sachindra, for this wonderful presentation. First, I love the beautiful video in the beginning with Dr. Misha Norland and all the great people. We just had him last month and it was very nice, wonderful. He'll be back with us next year too. And I love
Wonderful.
the map system.
Wonderful.
Yes, Dr. Misha sent email right away saying that Kavita, I would love to come over next as soon as possible. Anyways,
Very
so
nice.
and we love the map system. Dr. Joshi, as always, the levels, and it's a great info, because since I just enjoyed your seminar, a joint American Homeopathic Conference in April, this is for me, it's a refreshing session. So, and we always love to hear, and I encourage everyone to watch the free videos on the website, and also to register to the courses, www.drjoshiclinic.com. And though we have over 2,000 registered, because of Father's Day, everyone could not make live on Zoom, but they watch it on the Facebook, and the recording will be available in the YouTube, and it will be sent to
Good.
over 2,000 homeopaths. So it's a wonderful all. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and precious time. And we would like to take privilege to honor your precious time today with our CAS certificate from our study group. Please kindly accept.
Thank you. Oh, how beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
How
Dr.
beautiful.
Sachindra. And we have on July 11th with Dr. Divya Chabra on topic Leap to
Very
the
good.
Civilima.
Wonderful. Have a great time.
Bringing the unconscious to the conscious. And again, do not miss to register to the Mission 5000 webinar series. You will see me and over 90 speakers at that one. And to register, visit www.onlinehomeopathycourse.com. And being said this, first I would like to say once again to thank Ka Homeopathy State Group entire team for the continuous support. Today we have few of them, Dr. Shrija, Dr. Nupur Shah, Dr. Mamata, Dr. Lakshita, Dr. Sweta Verma, and many more. And we have many
Wonderful.
homeopaths from different parts of the world and renowned homeopaths lined up. And always thank all the participants for their precious and undivided attention. And happy Father's Day. And also for everyone staying over 10:30 p.m. in the night. And now for you, right? Thank you. I really appreciate. And we are wrapping today's session. And Dr. Sweta, would you like to wrap, please?
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Sachindra, for his gracious presence over our platform, Ka Homeopathy Study Group. And thank you to all the viewers for joining us and have supporting us to get all the recordings, webinar recordings. You can subscribe our YouTube channel, with the name Kavita Kukunur, and you can also follow our Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook social platforms with the name Ka Study Group. And for any queries, you can reach us at kastudygroup@gmail.com. Thank you all for joining, and happy Father's Day to everyone.
Thank you.